So this is our last week on the form of government, and when we complete this, we'll have done 2 of the 4 sections of the Book of Order, both the foundations of Presbyterian polity and the form of government. So it's a good time to go back and just review a little bit that we've done 2 of those, that there's 2 more to come, the Directory for Worship and the Rules of Discipline, and also just to remind you of the connections there are between the Foundations section and the rest of the Book of Order. So we'll see the Foundation Center are worked out in all 3 of the other sections, not just in the form of government, but in particular, let's look at what the Foundations say about councils. 3 things that are found in the Foundation section. One is that we say, as a way that we're going to work together, that presbyters will come together in councils, and we name the councils: session, presbytery, synod, and general assembly. All councils of the church are united by the nature of the church. They share with one another responsibilities, rights, and powers as provided in this Constitution. Each council is distinct, mutual relations of them. A higher council does have the right to review and control a lower one, and has the power to determine matters of controversy upon reference, complaint, and appeal. And then, very important for us to know that they have the authority to give effect to the duties and powers assigned to the Constitution. The jurisdiction of each council is limited to the express provision of the Constitution, with powers not mentioned being reserved to presbyteries. So, as we've said before, really the linchpin of our system is the presbytery, not the congregation or the session, as would be in a more congregationally based policy, nor the higher council of the church, as might be in a more episcopally based polity. So now we're going to look at how this plays out, particularly with synods and with general assemblies. So synods are what's called an intermediate council, a corporate expression of the church throughout a region. It needs at least 3 presbyteries within a specific geographic region, and then they are responsible for the life and mission of the church throughout its region and for supporting the ministry and mission of its presbyteries as they seek to support the witness of congregations. So you can see a renewed emphasis in the form of government upon the ministry of congregations, that they're the primary but not complete expression of the church. And when you read the section of synods, you will see presbytery, presbytery, presbytery. Really, synods exist to support and nurture the work of presbyteries. Oftentimes, congregations are not entirely aware of synods and the work that they do, but people who are involved with presbyteries are, because of the ways that the synod works to connect presbyteries and resource presbyteries as they do their work. The other important piece to note for a synod is the role of the Permanent Judicial Commission. They are a court of the church, and appeals from a presbytery go to a synod, Permanent Judicial Commission, and they play a very important role in the disciplinary and judicial life of the church. Synods historically have played a more programmatic role than they tend to play right now, and there are some synods that really don't do much besides having a permanent judicial commission. If you read the minutes of the last several General Assemblies, you will see lots of conversations about whether or not to continue to have synods and how to structure them, particularly because some of our very large synods have difficulty knowing what exactly their purpose is to be. In the United States, in the Presbyterian Church USA, there are 16 synods. You can see the blue synod that is Pennsylvania, and then West Virginia, and a little bit of Ohio, which is the Synod of the Trinity. That's the synod in which geographically Lancaster Seminary is located, and Lancaster Seminary is actually located in Donegal Presbytery, and so that's the synod that Donegal Presbytery is located in. As you look out west, you'll see some very, very large synods that cover lots and lots of states, and thus just have a lot of area really to be caring for. I think there'll be ongoing conversation over the course of your call about the nature and purpose and presence of synods and what they look like in the future. The General Assembly is the council of the whole church. It's representative of the unity of synods, presbyteries, sessions, and congregations. And you'll note that it consists of equal numbers of ruling elders and teaching elders elected by presbyteries, and is to reflect the diversity within their bounds. And the people who are elected serve as commissioners according to the following proportions. And you can look in the Book of Order and see those proportions. Larger presbyteries send more commissioners. The goal is parity, so that there's an equal number of teaching elders and ruling elders who gather on a biannual, every other year basis to make decisions for the entire national body of the Presbyterian Church USA. Some things to note: it meets every other year. The meeting rotates around the country. It will meet on the West Coast, or in the West, and then in the central part of the country, and then the East, to represent our geographical diversity, to make it more accessible to different people. It's met in the recent past in Portland, in Detroit, and in Pittsburgh. So that's the last three. You can see that they represent the East, the central part of the country, and the western part of the country. The Assembly elects a moderator and a vice moderator, or co-moderators, every time that it gathers. That's among the first act of the Assembly, to elect those persons. And then those are the persons who are up front during the Assembly to be in charge of moderating the entire body. It's a non-paid position. We just had the ability to elect co-moderators come into being, and that actually was done at this last Assembly. Part of the thinking for that is that in the moderator, vice moderator model, then if people got the vice moderator to visit them, they felt like they didn't really get the person they wanted. And with co-moderators, you get one of the moderators, and there's two. Rarely do you get both of them to come to an event. There also is a stated clerk of the General Assembly. That's the person who is the parliamentarian of the General Assembly. That is an elected to a term position and is a paid position. That's a staff person who then is in charge of what's called the Office of the General Assembly, which is one of the agencies of the Presbyterian Church USA. This person's considered the chief ecclesiastical officer of the Presbyterian Church. J. Herbert Nelson is the stated clerk of the General Assembly right now. He just assumed those duties the summer of 2016. There are executive directors for all the other agencies, and I'll talk about those other agencies in just a minute. I think those are some things to know about the General Assembly. What will happen in a General Assembly is that it'll receive reports and it will receive overtures. The people who are elected are assigned to committees, and then those committees, which range from 25 to 70, meet and consider matters, report back to the entire General Assembly. The rules of the General Assembly are that it needs to deal with, either by answering or by referring, every overture that comes to it. And so there's quite a bit of work that goes on in the just about 9 days that the General Assembly is together every other year. Historically, the Assembly has met every year. It just went every 2 years about 14 years ago. Here's an organizational structure chart of the Presbyterian Church USA. You will see the green, the General Assembly there in the middle, and then you will see the 6 agencies: the Office of the General Assembly, which is the Office of the Stated Clerk, and then the Presbyterian Mission Agency. The Presbyterian Mission Agency would be the agency that does world mission and also national mission. It would have the Presbyterian Disaster Assistance, things like that, and would be our primary mission body in the United States. It would be the one that people look to for materials and for assistance in congregational ministries, and also would be what does our national and international ministry. There's the Presbyterian Investment and Loan Program, which is a program by which we as a church provide funds to congregations, particularly to do building projects. We have a publishing corporation. We have a foundation where there's money invested that then it can be invested by individuals, congregations, presbyteries, synods, and then it is managed, and those funds are returned to their proper fiduciary duty. And then we have a board of pensions, which does retirement and medical and death and disability for our teaching elders, and also makes those resources available to others, and actually is moving to make those resources broadly. All of those agencies report then to the General Assembly. Their boards, their trustees are elected by the General Assembly, and they are charged with the functioning of the national body of the Presbyterian Church. So that helps give you a brief overview of what the General Assembly and the synods are like, something I would guess you'll learn more about as you move into ministry.